Your company's search bar is lying to you. Someone types, "How do I expense a client dinner?" and gets back 14 documents, none of which contain the word expense. That's because traditional enterprise search matches characters, not meaning. Today we're going to rip out that keyword engine and replace it with semantic search that actually understands intent. And we'll do it at production scale with all the messy trade-offs that real systems hit. Let's be precise about what's broken. Classic enterprise search runs on inverted indexes and BM25 scoring. Elasticsearch, SOAL, the usual suspects. They rank documents by term frequency and rarity. That's brilliant for exact match queries, but it has zero notion of meaning. Vacation policy and time off rules look like completely different documents to BM25, even though they are the same intent. Synonyms, paraphrases, and conceptual overlap are invisible. For an enterprise with thousands of documents written by hundreds of people using inconsistent vocabulary, that gap becomes a productivity tax. The fix is embeddings. Instead of indexing words, we convert every chunk of text into a high-dimensional vector, a list of floating point numbers that encodes semantic meaning. Text with similar meaning lands close together in that vector space, regardless of the actual words used. So, time off rules and vacation policy end up near neighbors. Retrieval becomes a geometry problem. Find the vectors closest to the query vector. With modern models like text embedding 3 large or the Open Voyage and Cohere v3 families, those vectors capture nuance that no synonym dictionary ever could. Here's what generating an embedding actually looks like. We call the embeddings endpoint with a batch of text chunks and get back dense vectors. Notice we batch. Sending one request per chunk will destroy your throughput and your rate limits. We also store the model name and dimension count alongside each vector, because the day you upgrade your embedding model, every vector you ever stored becomes incompatible. That metadata is your migration lifeline. Before you embed anything, you have to chunk. And chunking is where most enterprise search projects quietly fail. Embed an entire 40-page contract as one vector and you get mush. The meaning averages out into noise. Chunk too small and you shred the context a query needs to make sense. The pragmatic sweet spot for most corpora is recursive chunking around 500 to 800 tokens with a 10 to 15% overlap, splitting on semantic boundaries like headings and paragraphs first, then falling back to sentences. And critically, you attach metadata to every chunk. Source document, section, author, ACL tags. That metadata drives filtering and permissions later. Now you need somewhere to store millions of these vectors and search them in milliseconds. That's the vector database. You've got managed options like Pinecone and VV8 Cloud, embedded engines like Qdrant and Milvos, and increasingly, vector extensions bolted onto databases you already run, PG Vector for Postgres, or the vector capabilities now native in Elasticsearch and OpenSearch. The trade-off is operational simplicity versus raw performance. If you already run Postgres at scale, PG Vector with an HNSW index is often the lowest friction path to production. Why HNSW and not a brute force scan? Because comparing your query against every vector is linear time, and at 10 million vectors, that's a non-starter. HNSW, hierarchical navigable small world graphs, gives you approximate nearest neighbor search in logarithmic time. It builds a layered graph where you greedily hop toward the closest neighbors. You trade a tiny bit of recall for a massive latency win. The knobs that matter are M, the connectivity, and F, construction, and EF, search, which trade index, build cost, and query latency against recall. Tune these against your own data. Defaults are rarely optimal for enterprise corpora. Here's the actual retrieval query. We embed the user's question, then ask the database for the nearest vectors by cosine distance. Notice the where clause filtering on ACL tags. This is where permission-aware retrieval lives. We never want to return a chunk the user isn't allowed to see. And the cleanest way to enforce that is at the database layer, before ranking. The order by uses the distance operator and we limit to a candidate set, typically 30 to 50, that will re-rank in a later stage. Here's the trap experts walk into. Assuming dense vectors solve everything, they don't. Embeddings are weak at exact match needs, product codes, error numbers, acronyms, proper nouns. Ask for ER4042 and a semantic model might return conceptually related errors instead of the exact one. That's because rare literal tokens carry information that gets smoothed away in embedding space. The lesson: keyword search and semantic search have complementary failure modes. The production answer is not to choose, it's to combine them. The combination technique is reciprocal rank fusion. You run both searches independently, one BM25 keyword query, one vector query, and you get two ranked lists. RF doesn't care about the raw scores, which is great because BM25 scores and cosine similarities aren't comparable. Instead, it scores each document by 1 over a constant plus its rank in each list, then sums across lists. Documents that rank highly in both surfaces float to the top. It's stupid, simple, and remarkably hard to beat. The constant K, usually around 60, dampens the influence of low-ranked items. Fusion gets you a strong candidate set, but the top results still might not be the most relevant. That's where a cross-encoder re-ranker earns its keep. Unlike the bi-encoder that embedded query and document separately, a cross-encoder looks at the query and each candidate together and scores true relevance. It's far more accurate but far more expensive, which is exactly why you only run it on the top 30 or 40 candidates, not the whole corpus. Cohere re-rank and the open BGE re-rankers are the go-to choices in 2026. This two-stage retrieve then re-rank pattern is the backbone of every serious system. Let's assemble the whole retrieval flow so you can see how the stages chain. The query comes in, we embed it, and fire keyword and vector searches in parallel. We fuse those with RRF into a candidate set. Run the cross-encoder re-ranker and hand the top results to the answer layer. Every arrow here is a latency budget you have to defend. Parallelizing the two searches and capping candidate counts is how you keep the whole thing under a few hundred milliseconds. Most enterprise users don't want 10 links. They want an answer. So we layer retrieval augmented generation on top. We take the re-ranked chunks, stuff them into a prompt as context, and ask the model to answer using only that context, with citations. The non-negotiable rule here is grounding. Instruct the model to say, "I don't know," when the context doesn't contain the answer. Without that instruction, the model will confidently invent policy that doesn't exist. And in an enterprise, that's a liability, not a feature. Permissions are where enterprise search gets genuinely hard. A salesperson and a CFO query the same engine but must see different documents. You have three patterns: pre-filtering, apply ACL constraints inside the vector query, which we did earlier, is the safest but can hurt recall if your index isn't filter aware. Post-filtering retrieves broadly, then drops forbidden results, but you risk returning fewer than you wanted. The robust pattern at scale is row-level security plus filter-aware HNSW, where the index itself respects the metadata predicate. Whatever you choose, never enforce permissions in the LLM prompt. That's not security, that's wishful thinking. You cannot improve what you don't measure, and it feels better is not an evaluation strategy. Build a golden set, real queries paired with the chunks that should be retrieved. Then compute offline metrics. Recall at k tells you whether the right answer made it into your candidate set at all. MRR, mean reciprocal rank, rewards putting the right answer near the top. And nDCG accounts for graded relevance across the ranking. Run these on every pipeline change. When you tune chunk size, swap embedding models, or adjust RRF's K, these numbers tell you whether you actually improved or just moved the deck chairs. Here's an edge case that bites teams months into production. Embedding drift. The moment you upgrade your embedding model, say from version 3 to version 4, your new query vectors live in a completely different geometric space than your old document vectors. Cosine similarity between them is meaningless. There is no shortcut. You must re-embed your entire corpus with the new model before flipping the switch. For 10 million chunks, that's a real cost in time and money, which is exactly why we stored the model name on every vector back in scene 3. Plan for re-indexing as a first-class operational event, not a surprise. Documents change constantly in an enterprise. A wiki page edits, a policy updates, a Slack thread grows. You can't re-index everything nightly. Instead, you build an incremental ingestion pipeline triggered by change events. When a document updates, you rechunk only that document, delete its old vectors by document ID, and upsert the new ones. The key design constraint is idempotency. Running the same event twice must not create duplicates. Hashing chunk content and using deterministic IDs gives you that for free. 2 corner cases worth your attention. First, multilingual content, common in Indian enterprises spanning English, Hindi, and regional languages. Use a multilingual embedding model like Cohere, embed multilingual v3. So a Hindi query can retrieve an English document with the same meaning. Don't run separate per language indexes. That fragments your recall. Second, domain-specific jargon. Generic embeddings can struggle with dense legal or medical terminology. In those cases, fine-tuning the embedding model on your domain pairs or adding a domain-tuned re-ranker measurably lifts retrieval quality. Let's talk production economics, because experts live and die by these numbers. Every stage adds latency and cost. Embedding the query is a network round trip. The re-ranker is your most expensive hop. The LLM generation is the biggest cost line. Your levers: cache query embeddings for repeated questions. Use a smaller embedding dimension where recall allows, and consider quantizing vectors. ENT8 or binary quantization can shrink your index by 4 to 30 times with minor recall loss. For high traffic systems, a cheap router model can decide whether a query even needs the full RAG pipeline or can be answered from cache. You rarely get to do a big bang cutover in an enterprise. The pragmatic migration is the strangler pattern. Run semantic search in shadow mode first. Serve the old keyword results to users while logging what the new pipeline would have returned. Compare them offline against your golden set and against real click-through data. Then roll out to a small percentage of traffic, measure satisfaction, and expand. Keep BM25 in the loop permanently as the keyword arm of your hybrid search. You're not throwing Elasticsearch away. You're demoting it from the whole engine to one component of a smarter one. Finally, the things that keep you out of trouble at 3 a.m. Log every query, the retrieved chunk IDs, the re-rank scores, and the final answer. This trace is your debugging lifeline when someone reports a bad result. Add a faithfulness check that verifies the generated answer is actually grounded in the retrieved context. A small judge model or an entailment check catches hallucinations before they reach users, and monitor retrieval metrics continuously, not just at launch, because corpus drift and query distribution shifts will silently degrade quality over time. So here's the full picture. We replace character matching with meaning matching using embeddings, but kept BM25 alive inside a hybrid pipeline. We retrieve broadly, fuse with RRF, re-rank with a cross-encoder, and answer with grounded RAG. And we wrapped the whole thing in permissions, evaluation, and observability. Because in the enterprise, a search engine you can't measure and secure is a search engine you can't ship. This is the architecture that's quietly retiring legacy enterprise search across the industry right now. 3 things to lock in. 1. Semantic search beats keyword search on meaning, but the production answer is hybrid. Fuse both, then re-rank. 2. Permissions, evaluation, and observability aren't extras. They are what separate a demo from a system you can ship. 3. Plan for embedding drift and incremental ingestion from day one. Next, in the AI track, we go deep on building production RAG evaluation pipelines, golden sets, LLM judges, and CI gates for retrieval quality. Subscribe so you don't miss it, and drop your toughest enterprise search problem in the comments. Chunking, permissions, or latency. And I'll tackle the most upvoted one next.